Samuel Ullman said, "Years may wrinkle the skin, but to give up enthusiasm wrinkles the soul." In today's episode, we will discuss ways to build an elderly friendly society so that we can together promote wellness in the lives of the elderly, building a life filled with enthusiasm to grow and glow in harmony despite the years that separate us. Hello, everyone. My name is Mirma Tico Ortiz from Miriam College, and welcome to our peaceful classroom. Our peaceful classroom is a dedicated space where parents, educators, and other professionals come together to talk about ideas on how we can promote positivity and peace in the lives of our children and teens. Our special guest today is Dr. Victoria Apuan, or fondly called Doc Vicky by her students and colleagues. Dr. Vicky earned her PhD in Family Studies at the University of the Philippines. She retired as full-time professor from Miriam College, where she taught under the Departments of Psychology, Social Sciences, Theology, and the Family Studies program, where she mentored graduate students as their chairperson. She has done several researches commissioned by prestigious organizations such as Save the Children, UNICEF, as well as government agencies like the Department of Social Welfare and Development and the Department of Education. Dr. Vicky continued to engage with groups and communities that deal with the elderly, indigenous peoples, children and families, women and gender, including pastoral service and youth formation. She received awards for excellence in research from the University of the Philippines, Lourdes Lantoc Cruz Foundation, and Miriam College, where she was among those given the President's Award for Teaching Excellence. Join my conversation with Dr. Vicky Apuan as we discuss building an elderly-friendly society, together promoting wellness of the elderly. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Doc Vicky.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here with us here at our peaceful classroom. I'm so delighted to have you in our episode. This is actually a continuation from our last week's conversation with you. So, Dr. Vicky, for those who are new and who have just tuned in, can you just tell us, how you got started, where your journey began?
Yes. When I was doing my doctoral studies, I was at a loss for a topic because they disapproved my previous topic because they said it wasn't so feasible. So I asked my advisor, so what's a timely topic? What is a relevant topic? And that was in early 2000s. And she said, you know what? Nobody has really studied aging yet. I said, huh? I said, yes. It's very relevant, and the United Nations just declared that it's the International Year of Aging. So maybe you could do something about it because not very many people have done it. At that time also, I was active in the parish and with my mom. And ever since we moved to Antipolo, my mom and I have been together in our church activities. And it turns out her friends became my friends. And they were mostly old people, as you can imagine, in the parish, no? Mostly senior citizens. So I began to hang out with a lot of them. And
Mm-hmm.
then soon, of course, in a few years, I became senior. Then in Miriam, we began to offer a master's degree in gerontology, and we had lots of nice seminars. So aside from the formal classes, we had 2 3 day seminars, and I was so surprised because 180 would come, no, to
Wow.
those seminars. And I said, wow, this is really something that people don't know about. They want to know about it, no? And I met all kinds of people, all kinds of resource persons, until finally we had our graduates. And then we also emphasized aging concerns in the PhD program in family studies. So it really expanded my world, and many of us, at least about a dozen of us, are now busy sharing
Mm-hmm.
about aging to others. So I'm very happy that Miriam is the only one, at least, that's really known for this. Yeah,
Wow. Wow. So that's very interesting. So it all
yeah,
started off with like a dead parang dead end, no? Doon nag-umpisa na
yes,
parang you
yes,
got rejected for the topic that you proposed, and then it just blossomed into this new thing that
yes,
people were so interested in. So all right.
yeah,
So thank you for letting us know,
yes,
your journey, and
yes.
I'm sure that it will be an inspiration to many of our watchers today. So, can you talk to us about building an elderly friendly society? What are some things, what are some breakdowns? Let's go into the breakdowns first, Go ahead, Miss Vicky.
Well, with this pandemic, with the pandemic, galit ang mga matatanda, di ba? Kasi
Oh, bawal lumabas, di ba? Bawal lumabas.
we're the first ones that were
Para naka-house
asked to
arrest.
stay home. Yeah, yeah. And, in response to that, the elderly put up a Facebook group that says seniors sa panahon ng COVID. And
Mhm.
in no time, they have had what? Right. To date, they have about 29,000 Facebook members. Imagine, ang bilis dumami from all walks of life. And
Yeah.
then they posted their concerns. Then for a while, the LGUs became maluwag,
Oo.
so you have groceries that have signs, tarpaulins that says, "Welcome back, senior citizens." No, the other day, binawalan na naman kami
Oo.
because of
There's
the
a new
new variant.
announcement.
Yeah, because of the
65
new
and
variant.
up. That's right. 65
Yeah,
and up, hindi na naman pwedeng lumabas. Nako naman.
yeah, yeah. So that's really something that the elderly. The other thing, the very clear thing that is because of COVID,
Mhm.
elderly people are going to age in place. Ibig sabihin, hindi sila pwede lumabas, so they're going to age in their homes.
Mhm.
Okay? So, we have to now make the home better,
Mhm.
because they will stay long with you. For you guys that are younger, the seniors will be there to stay. And that's why in the previous session, I really gave the perspective on how to make their lives better. And now I'm going to go into more
Yeah.
detail about it.
All right. So speaking of what you had discussed last
Yeah,
in our last episode,
yeah,
there we have. Let's have the
yeah,
recap of our previous
yeah.
session. Go ahead, Vince.
Yes. So, madami na kami, no? So, we're about 9.5% of our population. So, if you look at 110 million total population, we're over 10 million. Okay?
Wow.
And some of the elderlies are healthy, some are sickly. Now, when you ask an old person, how do you feel? Depende sa kanya eh. If he or she can still walk and move around, yeah, healthy ako. If may maintenance medicine na, they'll say, medyo healthy. But some are sickly,
Mhm.
And it's so hard to be sick nowadays. The reason why we were put on a house arrest is because uh, in the early days, most of those who died were really the old. No?
Mhm.
Nevertheless, we still have a role in society. No? I also said last week that we need to care for our elderly population because the Philippine Constitution requires it.
Mhm.
It is an act of love for family members. It is a humanitarian act. In fact, the Philippine Constitution says the family is the primary duty bearer, the primary group responsible for taking care of the elderly. The state only provides help, like all those discounts and other benefits.
Mm-hmm.
Every day we age and we take a step towards forward towards being a senior citizen. So, Mirma, matagal ka pa, but some of our other friends are, as every day comes along, we know we will reach there.
Mm-hmm.
So, my advocacy is let's be mindful of our own aging process, but let's prepare in a holistic way. So
Oh,
when
I
I
like
finished
that.
when I finished my dissertation, I had the whole framework of a holistic preparation for successful aging. You're only going to age successfully to the extent that you prepare.
Successful aging. Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. Parang you just think of aging, no? You just think, oh, I'm gonna get old, bahala na, how that is. But right now, let me just live my life. Di ba parang ganon? But you
Yes,
have
when
to
you're young,
prepare.
mayabang ka. Hello. Oo.
You have to prepare, no?
Yes. Another word that's being used is graceful aging.
Gracefully. I think I've heard that one. Yes, I've
Yes,
heard
that
that
one.
one.
Yeah. So you have to be graceful in the sense that uh, you are nice, you remain nice, you remain pleasant, and that you are still a good person to be with, a
Mm-hmm.
pleasant person to be with when you get old.
Yeah.
Because when I ask students, kumusta si Lola, kumusta si Lolo, the students say, masungit. I mean, I think the teachers that are listening to us now, no, they might hear that from their students, no. But
Yeah.
on the other hand, the students have another answer. They say, kumusta si ma'am, si Lola, kumusta si Lolo? Ay, okay, kasi lagi nagbibigay ng pera. So, spoiled
Spoiled.
ako.
Oo.
Yeah,
Spoiled
that's
sila.
why. Depende nga eh. So, last meeting, I said a little about bakit masungit si Lolo at Lola.
Okay. So again, let's be mindful of our own aging process. So aging gracefully, and let's prepare in a holistic way. Thank you, Miss Vicky. That's
Yes.
beautiful.
Okay.
All right. So here we
So, look at
have
the photos, no? Uh, you see there are two women, and one is happy despite all her wrinkles and her lines,
beautiful,
no?
beautiful pictures.
The other one is a bit worried, no?
Oo,
You can
oo.
see. Nag-aalala.
Oo, nag-aalala siya.
So, baka nandun siya sa labas sa garden, kailan ako makakalabas. Si Lolo naman, both of them, no? Yung isa, happy rin, cheerful. And then the other one, in his own way, nakakapag-alaga ng apo.
Yes. You know,
In his own, old people, in fact, have a favorite word. They say, apostolate, no?
yeah.
Apo, no? Take care of my apo. And rightly so, they're so happy taking care of their apo. Siguro ito kay Lola, hindi lang apo to, baka apo na sa tuhod to, no?
Baka,
Kasi,
baka po. Yes. So I see that with my mom and my in-laws, and they're really so happy with their apo. So yes, apo.
yeah,
What's the word? Apostolate.
yes,
yeah.
apostolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Followers ng apo. Ganun po ba yun?
Kasi di ba sa church, what's your apostolate? A Bible ministry,
yes.
liturgical. My apostolate is in my house or
Yeah.
in my daughter or son's house. And it's
Yes.
a gift. Kasi lolos and lolas, if they age gracefully, they're very pleasant in taking
Yeah.
care of their apo.
Yes.
But let's not abuse them because they'll get tired
Oo
also.
naman. Oo naman po. All right, miss. So, how do we
Okay.
care for the elderly? That's a question that a
Yes.
lot of people are asking now. What's the proper way? What is the proper way?
For those of us who are in the city, it's highly possible that grandparents are still in the province. No, that's why most of us and our students have little or no experience of caring. It's
Mm-hmm.
seeing them for Christmas, New Year, but if they never lived with us in the same house, we'd have a hard time. So I always say three things. Now remember, recognize the deficiencies. That means that's what we'll discuss today. Ano yung kulang, ano na yung hindi na tulad ng dati, no? Because sometimes we gloss over it. Number two, knowing the appropriate responses and interventions. And then number three, yan, pinaka-importante, unfaltering patience. Pasensya, pasensya, pasensya. That's what I really recommend. So, see a house, yeah? When I talk to old people, I always say, what were the things that you could do before so easily that you cannot do now? And then they stop to think and they say, I'm not walking as much as fast as before.
Mm-hmm.
I can't lift the heavy things anymore. I have a hard time bending and all that. No? So the first thing you realize when you're old are the physical things. So there are 9 activities of daily living that can be our checklist. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
living with an old person, you be aware. So whether it's your mom, I was saying last session that teachers usually are in a sandwich generation. They're in between taking care of their elderly parents and taking care of their younger children. Find out, can is the old person in the house still able to bathe or shower on his own? Kaya pa ba niya na maligo mag-isa? Kaya pa ba niya to go to the bathroom and do his toilet activities? Is the bathroom still clean? No, when he leaves. Because there is the complaint, and we laugh about it. They say, I see Lolo, si Lola, ayaw na maligo. It's not that they don't like bathing. It's possible that they find the water too cold. So my advice is, ang pagligo ni Lola at Lola, 10 a.m. Don't force them to go to have a shower at 7. Even
Mm-hmm.
if for 50 years they were taking a bath so early because they were working. Why? Because the temperature of the water at 10 a.m. is so much friendlier to old people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So that they will want. And then somebody has to just stay with them in the within the vicinity. Like if they have privacy issues, put a chair near the door of the bathroom
Mm-hmm.
so that you can hear them. Okay, if anything goes wrong, have a chair in the bathroom, in the shower. Have assistive devices that I showed last time, a bar. Install a hand bar because if they're having a hard time, then they're no longer uh, able to be left alone. Baka madulas.
Yes.
Okay?
At
Then blood
delikado yon.
pressure is, yes, blood pressure is high in the morning. So most elderlies, they die in the bathroom if they are very early. So what we tell elderlies is when you wake up, sit down for 3 minutes at least. Don't stand up right away. Even if you're going to, it's an emergency, no. If you rush to the toilet, you might fall. Okay. Let's look at the next square, functional mobility. Can the older person still move around? My advice is you watch them as they move. And where's their bedroom? If their bedroom is on the second floor, delicado.
Mm.
Why?
Mm.
Because that means they have to traverse the stairs. What some people have done in a medium-sized house, okay, or maybe even a small house, they have transformed the sala to a bedroom. Why? They put curtains or a divider so that Lolo and Lola don't have to go up and down the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
Ang problema is if there's no bathroom on the first floor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for uh, those of you in your 40s, kindly find a way to build a bathroom on the first floor. So
Mm-hmm.
that even when the old people can no longer go up and down the stairs, they can be at least on the ground floor.
Mm-hmm.
Because the fastest way to die for an older person is to fall. Once a person falls, breaks their hip or their leg, they're immobilized for at least 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, without the proper therapy, their legs can atrophy. Okay, and
And
they
they're
can,
prone to bed sores, right? Because they
yes,
can't move. Yeah.
yes. So nobody wants to go to the hospital now for surgery or so prevent the falls. That's why somebody who's already walking very slowly, whose eyesight is no longer so good, especially at night. No, especially at night, you have to be careful and check. No, so habang lumalakad si lola at lola, look at them. How is the gait? How do they walk? No, that's why most doctors, when an old person comes to see them, they tell the patient, "Mommy, Daddy, pakilakad lang forward." Then you come back to me. They said, "Bakit?" Because the doctors want to see how is Lolo and Lola walking. Is there balance or is he losing his balance? So kayo, no, tingnan niyo. Okay, ito, very ano to. There are many funny stories about this sexual activity. Okay, so so si Lola at si Lolo nakakapaglabing-labing pa ba? No? Then,
May action pa
uh,
ba, no?
so they say, ano na lang kami, para na lang kami magkapatid. Uy, no? But really, one of the things that we have to look at is, are they still able to have sex? And if not, sometimes si Lolo maidang ulo.
Mhm.
Kasi he's already not as successful as he used to be, no? As virile, as strong. Si Lola naman, she has to be patient also. Kasi there are many ways of enjoying each other's company by being just affectionate, no? So we also watch that or listen. No, you don't watch it. You listen to hints or
Mhm.
innuendos about Lola and Lola's sexual activity. Downstairs, okay, time to eat, no? Watch them. You know, in China, one of the most controversial programs of the government was taking care of teeth, no? Providing dentures for the old people. Why? Because if you don't have the proper teeth or dentures, you can't eat well.
So
And when
yung
you don't eat well,
nutrition.
you lose weight. Yeah, and you get sick. So, what we do, no, tayo, young people, we have to make sure that Lolo and Lola are assisted. How? By cutting up the food, giving them more boiled food. Okay, in some places, we austerize what is difficult to chew. And we tell Lolo and Lola, it's all right if it takes you a long time in eating because, you know, in this world, minsan nagmamadali, we are impatient if Lola and Lola are still very slowly chewing. And that's good that they're chewing slowly so they don't get choked by their feet, by their food, no? So tayo, two things, food preparation, and then assisting them. And then some of you might say, but Lolo and Lola, they're no longer ganado to eat. And then I say, baka hindi na attractive. One of the things we learned in our studies is that when you're feeding an old person, make sure that it is colorful. For example, because of high cholesterol levels, no, we're into boiled food. But if boiled food is boring, if it doesn't look appetizing, no? If lugaw, and lugaw pa rin. No, yung, you see arroz caldo or lugaw, what is the color? No, it's just one color, right? You garnish it with a little
Green chives, di ba?
seasoning, yeah,
Oo.
fine. But what can happen is that when there's a plate, okay, advice natin is it's like you're preparing for a toddler, no? If there's a plate, you put enough colorful, different colors of food on the plate. For example, if you have carrots, that's orange, right? You have greens, they're green. If the Lola and Lola can still take leche flan, you have a little yellow, right? And then a little rice is white, and then whatever food has a different color. So
Mhm.
the person looks at the plate and says, ganda naman itong kakainin ko, no? It's not, ay, lugaw na
Yeah.
naman, boring, no? So, and then of course the proper drinks. So there are, if you look in the internet, there are pictures of how you can still present your plate, lolo and lola, and even if you have a toddler, to
Yeah.
baby, to totoy and nene, ano.
So So
it
parang
takes, okay?
a colorful plate encourages better nutrition for the elderly.
Yes. Yeah, so kunyari, you have a mango, yung half a mango or
Uh-huh.
one-fourth of a mango, that's already nice yellow, right?
And that's
Okay,
not too
so
much
there,
sugar also, no? Kasi
yes, that's
for
why we
let's
control
say,
the sugar.
yeah.
Yeah,
So half a mango
yeah.
is enough, 'di ba, to
Yes, one-fourth pa nga eh,
a
pag
one for.
high sugar siya.
Okay.
So you take care of all of that. And then Lola might want to cook, no? She might still want to cook because that's what she's been doing for the last 50 years, right? So, bantayan mo lang. Make sure that she is able to not hurt herself with a knife or with the heat. And, alalay ka nga, no? Just be around but without insulting her na she can't do it anymore. Kasi if her eyes are weak, she might hurt herself.
Mm-mm.
So, yun. Of course, yung papalengke, they love that. No? They love going to palengke, but bawal ngayon. So,
I
ikaw
think
na
that
lang
was
or
one
your
of the
mom.
challenge, no? Yung going to the
Yeah.
market now that we are under the
Mm.
pandemic, parang that's one thing that
Yeah.
our elderlies really miss. Yung mamamalengke ng fresh fish, fresh
Eh,
vegetables. Yeah.
yeah. At makipagkwentuhan sa mga tindera.
Tindera, tama, oo.
Yeah. Yes, kasi that's their socialization. Eh. Yung,
Mm,
kung may suki ka kasi, you're able to make kwento what happened the week before, and
yeah.
kumusta yung anak mo, etc., etc. And then, of course, personal hygiene and grooming. Okay. So, are they still combing their hair? Keep them pretty. Have a nice duster for Lola. No? Some old men, they want nice shorts. No? So, you can still buy shorts for them. So, they feel good about themselves. So, tayo, mga young, the sandwich generation, middle-aged people, pansinin natin lahat yan. Now, problem, you're so busy na nga, pansinin mo pa. Yes, pansinin mo pa.
Yes.
Because pag hindi mo pinansin at nadapayan, mas malaki problema, mas malaki paggastos.
Mm-mm,
So
mm-mm.
let's be sure that we look at their activities of daily living.
Yeah.
Okay?
Doc Vicky, I really like your last point. No, we have to really pay attention also to how they present themselves because, diba, when we have nice clothes on, yung we feel good about
Feel good.
ourselves. And
Feel good,
sometimes
yeah.
kasi, diba, we think, oh, si lolo at si lola nasa bahay lang naman, they don't have to wear nice clothes. So that really, adds, no, that adds to their how they feel about themselves that day. So I like
Yes.
that. I like that a lot.
Magpabango, no? If they're used to putting perfume or cologne, go.
Mm, mm.
Yeah. Make
Yeah.
them feel good about themselves.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, five
Okay.
languages.
Yeah.
Five
The
love
reason why,
languages.
yeah. You know why I included this? Because everybody has to know about this. Not only the old, those living with the old, but of course even those living with the young. So you try to recall, now when you were growing up, how did you know that your mother loved you?
Mm.
Yeah, how do you know? Di ba? She feeds you. Or when you get home from school,
She plays
kumain ka
with
na.
you. Oo.
Yeah, then yeah, yung, so there are five, and we have to learn all. Although we grow up with some favorite languages, that's why and then we have to imagine if I have these languages, these preferred ways of feeling love and giving love, then maybe Lola and Lolo also. So number one is words of affirmation. 'Di ba, when you have a small kid, "Ay, ang bait ng anak ko, ay ang gwapo, ang pogi." Okay? So si Lola, "Ang ganda naman ni Lola ngayon, ang ganda ng ngiti." O si Lolo, gwapo pa rin, na. And then the small things that they do, "Oy, thank you for this, ha." Gano'n. So words are usually verbal, but if you're more creative, you give them little cards.
Mm.
Okay, pag may occasion, may poster ka, correct, no? And then you say, kaya mo yan. Sige, tutulungan kita. O dahan-dahan ha, pero we'll still do it. So, sabi nga dito, let's avoid emotionally harsh words. Like you say, ikaw naman, 10 beses mo na kinuwento yan sa akin.
Oh,
That's it.
yeah. Oo.
Short-term memory and long-term memory, no? Ikaw naman, yung salamin mo, lagi hindi mo mahanap. That's short-term
Mm,
memory.
mm,
Pero makikwento niya yung panahon ng hapon or makikwento niya yung bata siya. So So we avoid the impatient. That's why I said unfaltering patience. No? Oh, you said that na. O, sige pa, ulit-ulit. So, words of affirmation. Kung natumba niya yung baso niya by some, you don't say clumsy, you don't say that. You say, o,
Mm.
sige, let's pick it up. Okay lang ma, okay lang pa. Di ba? Kasi pag ininsulto mo pa, the more they feel really bad. So,
Oo.
I love you. You know, my mom, one of her habits, even when she was not old, was every time I went out to work, she just says, "Have a nice day." Yan, have a nice day. Yes, mom. Have a nice day. No, so tayo, let's not be matipid about I love you, mahal kita.
Mm.
And then if you were not used to saying those words and then you say it, they say, hihingin ka ba sa akin? No,
May
magiging
kailangan ka
suspicious.
ba? Ano kayang
Kailangan ka
kailangan
ba?
nito?
Bakit sweet ka na naman, ha? And I say,
Oo.
no, lol, no, mama, no, papa, no, lola. Okay lang kasi I appreciate you in my life. Remember, when they're gone, boy, are you gonna miss them, no? So,
Yeah.
while they're alive, just say it. So, words. My mom was very generous with words, so I'm thankful for that. Okay?
So, really paying attention to these five love languages. So
Okay.
important. Thank you, Miss Vicky.
Quality time. Oh,
Yeah.
no, let's go back. May pandemic, so no choice.
Oo,
we're
talagang
staying,
quality
we're
time
staying
tayong lahat. Yes, that's right.
baka naman we're all on the TV, no? Or
Or
ano,
on our phones, no? We're all
yes,
in one place, but everyone is looking down at
yeah,
the phone.
yes. So, let's just give a little time for kwentuhan. Kwento. Everybody's phone down, down, down. No? So,
Or
even your
make it,
kids are gonna,
yeah, or make an
and then,
effort maybe during dinner time to just sit
yes,
down, no gadgets, and just talk.
yes. Uh, and then giving gifts, little gifts. Diba, you have a little kid and then he comes from the garden, gives you a flower or even a leaf. Naku, you're so overjoyed. So, old people, we realize that sometimes they want to give gifts. So even the poor, when they get their social pension, they don't go home without pasalubong for their apos, no? So in the
Mm,
same way na pasalubong sa apo, pasalubong kay Lola. Yung
mm-mm.
favorite cookie niya, no? Yung favorite munching food niya, give it, no? Give them gifts. If they need a new duster or a shirt, go ahead. Performing acts of service, helping them with things, what not overly helping them. So just things that you think they would need assistance on, that you do it. Like, preparing that nice food plate is an act of service.
Mhm.
And then, of course, last but not least, is what we all long for since infancy: physical touch. Hugs. Okay, nasa loob naman ng bahay, so no chance of contamination kasi hindi naman kayo lumabas.
Mm-mm.
Although they don't like hugging now, no, for in public. But if you're in the house and kontrolado nyo naman yung inyong exposure to the outside world, physical touch. It could be a hand just on the back, on the shoulder, on the head, no? Or a tap on the arm, and just say, I love you. Okay, so don't be OA. If you're not used to some languages, you practice slowly. Because baka the old people ma-overwhelm, say, anong problema mo?
Yeah,
May
or
kailangan ka.
anong meron? Bakit
Uh,
ganyan?
Oo, meron ka bang hindi sinasabi sa akin? Yung
Oh,
mga ganun.
yeah. They become
Yeah, kung may sakit
suspicious,
ako,
no?
hindi mo sinasabi. Yeah.
Oo.
So those are the five languages. Everybody practice. And then for those that are married, no, have partners, you tell your partner, alam mo, pinaka-paborito kong love language, ito. Pakidami-damihan mo naman, no? Ganun. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So,
Care
what's
plan.
knowing all of this, no, from last meeting to this meeting now, one of the things that we can really do is if we want to change the situation, we have to have a plan. And here I call it a care plan. So I have a list of things that we can do. First, making the physical environment safer. So look around the house. What are the places that need a non-skid rug? Okay, what are the places that need a handrail, a bar? What are the places that need more lights? Maybe you can install one more bulb to make it brighter. What are the uneven floors that you have to make more even, especially in the garden, no? Baka madapa siya doon. What are the wires that are on the floor that we have to make sure are not in along the way when we walk, you know? Okay. The what can the elderly people be involved? What activities? Pagdidilig, they love that. Gardening, everybody's a plantita now, no? Sabi nga yung for the men, it's trying to fix little things, little repairs. So we'll plan that since we can't go out naman, no? Including them in all family rituals and traditions. Okay, I think naman that even if we're a small family, we have our own milestones that we can celebrate together with them. Ato, chances for exercise. Okay, you can either have exercise while watching TV. Okay, making sure that they go out in the sun from 8 to 10 in the morning, 20 minutes, planning good and attractive diets, helping them maintain hygiene. No?
Mm-hmm.
You know, all of this, you have to have it in your plan, huh? Don't skip any. And then allowing them to socialize with others, teach them Facebook, internet, so they can see the relatives abroad or far away. They love that now, huh? Sabi
Yeah.
nga nila, when you teach an old person how to use the computer, boy, do they use it. No? They really love saying hi to people they haven't seen in a long time. Okay, providing a supply of their favorite things. Like my mom, she liked the mamon tostado, no? So I always make sure na may mamon tostado siya. Uh, what are the things that they like? Make sure it's always there. And then ito nga, listening to their many sometimes repeated stories. Uh, you know, when we inurned my mother and then we exhumed my father, so sabay yung inurnment nila. We had to tell the apos who never met my father stories about them, no?
Mm-hmm.
So so on one hand kami, the middle generation, we were telling the young people who didn't meet my father stories about him. And they were so interested. So in the same way that we like to tell stories, they also like to tell stories, no? And then helping them practice their religious beliefs. So they can't go to mass, but there's so many masses now in a day. If you look at Facebook and you say daily mass, oh my God, you have maybe 4 or 5 in a day.
Yes.
Choose
Yes.
one that is convenient for them, and they can watch that. No, they can
Yes.
help mass. I think most of us who didn't go to daily mass now can go to daily mass because of this, no? Because of these
Yes.
Zoom masses.
So
So when you have a plan, write it down and then make sure that you, personally, you and your partner, your husband, your family, your children, you have a checklist on the things that are assigned. So, sinong assigned to stay with Lola or Lola today for kwentuhan time? Okay?
mm-mm.
Sinong assigned na umalalay kay Lola or Lola today? No? You don't have to do everything unless you're single. No? So, if you're single naman, you just pace yourself and do what you have to do.
So it's important to
Okay.
really create a plan so that as can we call ourselves companions and also caregivers of our elderly.
Yes.
We also don't feel
Yeah.
overwhelmed. Now, am I
Mm-mm.
doing it right, or am I missing anything that will
Yes.
continue the holistic
Mm.
life of my mother, my father? So this is a really
It,
good plan to have.
for teachers, di ba, we spend a lot of time preparing lessons and checking.
Mm-hmm.
So while we're doing that, we can play the favorite songs of Lola and Lolo. Di ba? So, ano yung favorite singer nila? Pwede naman i-download lahat yan
Yeah.
ngayon,
So
no?
parang you
So, ayun.
insert it in your daily daily
Yes.
So it's not like something that you have to do out of your way, but it's in sync with what
Oo.
you are doing.
Yes. You're just being what we call mindful. Di ba?
That's the
You
word.
you are mindful of what they need and you insert it into your lifestyle
Yeah.
para hindi pilit.
Mm-mm.
Ah, yeah.
All right. So thank you, Doc
Yes.
Vicky. All
Yeah.
right. So we go now to the
So
reflection.
those for the students naman, yeah. So for students, you can assign to your students, how can I make my lolo, lola, elderly neighbor, no, yung kapitbahay, feel that they are important to me. Okay? How- doon sa kapitbahay, baka you just wave every day. No? Morning lola, morning lolo. No? Okay? Uh, how will I express and how often will I do it? What can I do alone? What can I do if someone will help me? So see, you're the apo, so sometimes the affection is towards you. So now it's your time to reciprocate and make the affection towards lolo and lola. I think for students, they can do this kasi they have more time on their hands. Eh. Unless they're too busy with their cell phones. But you know how to stop doing that and make a space, no? Insert, plan. That's why, if there's a schedule, do it.
Yeah, be more mindful.
Yeah.
Yun yung keyword doon.
Yeah. For parents naman, who are the sandwich generation, no? If there are parents listening to us, or even the teachers themselves, recall your best moments. Try to use these happy memories as the well by which you can draw love, patience, and creativity. Alam mo, when your parents pass away, you really have all those moments. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
So maganda if you take pictures of those moments kasi you can, you can look in your phone and reflect on them.
Mm-hmm.
Should the needs of the elderly require redesigning one's house in order to make them safer? It's not so expensive, mind you, huh? It's not
Yung
expensive.
installing the
You do it.
hand railing in the
Yeah,
bathroom. Yeah.
yeah. Ikaw mismo, no? After this session, you look at your house. You just one round ka sa loob, tapos sa labas. What can happen? What
Mm-mm.
accident can happen? You always think of that. You don't plan accidents, that's why it's called an accident. But once it happens, it's painful. No? Conduct meetings to brainstorm on what to do. And then feel free to consult gerontologists or geriatric doctors for help. So I have a group of geriatric doctors who you can call, consult online for for whatever questions you have. So just get in touch with me.
Thank you, Doc Vicky. So that's good that we have a list of available doctors who we can consult because
Yeah.
right now people are so scared to go out. Maybe
Yes.
they they don't know where to go. So I'm happy that you are giving that resource to us. You're providing that resource to us.
Yes. So you have to believe that yes, you can make a difference in the life of the elderly, no? And we as teachers, we have so much influence. So we influence co-teachers, we influence our students, and the parents who are contacting us.
So yes, we can really make a difference in the lives of the
Yeah,
elderly. I like that. And
yeah,
planning ahead, being more mindful, it's possible. And I think
it's
we're
possible.
here. Us, you call us the sandwich generation, right? It's
Yes,
it's really important for us to be more mindful of the things that we can do to help our elderly uh, age more gracefully and to also help us age more gracefully. Because dun
yes,
din naman kami pupunta, right, Miss Vicky?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. So thank you so much, Miss Vicky, for your time.
My
I'm sure
pleasure.
that many people will find this topic very relevant to them. So we hope to see you again, maybe in another
Sure,
topic, another session.
sure. Yeah.
So, any closing messages for our viewers today?
Well, just take time out before it's too late. Yeah.
Just take time. So that's right.
Yes.
All right, Doc Vicky, have a pleasant day, and to all our viewers, we'll see you next in our next episode next week.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
In our conversation with Dr. Vicky, she gave emphasis on the many ways we can show love and care for our elderly. She shared with us Gary Chapman's 5 love languages. Number 1, words of affirmation. Words of affirmation that encourages, compliments, and affirm the spirit will surely help our elderly feel appreciated and important. Number 2, spending quality time. Quality time can show that we care. Spending time or giving our elderly undivided attention or simply having one-on-one conversation will truly uplift their spirit. Number 3, receiving gifts. Receiving gift is probably a love language that sometimes is hard to communicate, but being able to give simple gifts from time to time may uplift their spirit and give them a lot of joy. Number 4, acts of service. This can start by asking them, "What can I do for you? Let me lend you a hand." Or, simply just being there when they need something or assistance. Acts of service does not have to be grand to be appreciated. And lastly, physical touch. Physical touch now that we are under the pandemic may be hard to give to our elderly, especially if we don't live in the same household. But if you are living in the same household, I hope that you find time to give them a hug, a pat on the back, or a kiss on the cheek. Now, not all elderly are the same, so make sure you get to know your elderly so you become more aware of the love language and will make conscious actions to fulfill this. As granddaughters or grandsons, reflect on ways that you can make Lolo or Lola feel important. For us in the sandwich generation, reflect on the best moments with your elderly and use this moment to draw love, patience, and creativity. We can also examine our household and see what improvements can be made to make it more conducive for our elderly. In case that you feel you need help, you may consult a gerontologist or a geriatric doctor for help. I hope the sharing of Dr. Vicky was helpful to you and your family. Up next, we have Miss Angge Pacifico, all the way from Switzerland. So Miss Angge, or Nanay Angge as fondly called by many people around her, is a mother to 4 grown-up kids and a proud grandmother of 3. She was a teacher in Miriam College for 34 years. Nanay Angge, or Miss Angge, founded Binhi ng Kapayapaan, a multi-faith and multicultural non-governmental organization that promotes the healing of divisions and building peace and solidarity between different religions, tribes, and cultures in the Philippines through leadership formation, interreligious dialogues, training, and advocacy programs, and creating linkages with both local and international peace networks. Let us now listen to Miss Angge Pacifico as she shares her tips on how to age gracefully.
Hello everyone. I was asked to share some tips about aging gracefully to support the talk of my dear friend Vicky Apuan. First, a little about myself. I'm turning 67 this Saturday, so happy birthday to me. I was and still am a single mom. I raised 4 now grown-up kids and have 3 lovely granddaughters. I was also a teacher in Miriam for 34 years. There are 2 major experiences that shape and transform my view of life. First, in 2003, I had a burnout. As I mentioned, I was a single mom. I was also an activist, social worker, and I was used to stretching myself too much. I took 2 to 3 jobs at a time. At that time, I was teaching full-time in Miriam and also finishing my master's. I also took care of my mom, who had Alzheimer's for 8 years. So, as you can see, I lived quite a stressful life. And one day in 2003, I woke up feeling extremely drained of all energy. I had to stop working, and this led to my early retirement. The second experience was in 2004, when I experienced food poisoning and near-death experience. I ate the stomach part of the tulingan, and at that time there was the red tide. And I was rushed to the hospital because my blood pressure was going very low. I was put in the ICU of the emergency ward, and I was seeing blurred, all white. They put so many tubes in my body, and suddenly I was shaking terribly, experiencing intense tremor like I was being attached to the big post of the Meralco. And then suddenly everything was disappearing, and I saw myself like ether entering through a tunnel to reach the light at the opposite end. Suddenly everything blacked out, and there was nothing except this big, big love which was embracing me. It was so beautiful. I had to wake up because my doctor woke me up, but a few days after, my mother died, and I was consoled with the knowledge that she did not suffer at the point of death. She was just embraced by God. These two experiences shook me up immensely, but I also learned important lessons from them. First, that my life is precious. I am precious. And always, at all times, I'm totally cradled in God's love. So I made major lifestyle changes, which I share to you now as tips in aging gracefully. Number 1, loving myself, which we can call self-care or holistic care. Vicky's 5 languages of love, I practice that especially for myself. Self-care also involves slowing down, focusing on the present, appreciating the beauty of every moment, enjoying the now, and not postponing my happiness. So I use now the good things that I keep in my cabinet. I eat my favorite food, making sure that it's healthy. I develop a routine for an enjoyable daily life, recognizing my limits. For example, if I could do this much before, and I could do this less in this area, well, I could do more probably in this area, like more crystallite intelligence, more intuition. So I do a lot of meditation now. But I also make sure that I do enough physical activities to keep myself fit. I do yoga, qigong, I dance, and I walk. Number 2, choose joy at every moment in everything that you do. Food. I'm a vegetarian for 2 years now. This is my humble contribution for a healthier planet, and also because it is healthier for me. Entertainment. Instead of war stories, I watch more comedy movies and feel-good movies. Choosing your company. A friend of mine said each of one is an orbit, and we should learn to recognize the people in our orbit, people that nourish you, who are in the same plane, who share things about life. One of them is Vicky, of course. So I do have more one-on-one interaction now. I avoid big groups and crowds. Choosing how to use your time to avoid stress, and of course to always remember that there's no need to hurry. Number 3, dare to close doors in order to open new ones. There's a beautiful quote that says, "You can only enjoy the ocean if you dare to leave the shore." It was very difficult for me to leave Miriam. But after that, some colleagues of mine, including Vicky, built and established the Binhi ng Kapayapaan, an NGO, where we trained about 70 youth leaders through workshops and an annual peace camp. And these 70 youth leaders are now contributing in their own ways all over the Philippines, some even outside the Philippines. One of them is Mirma. Number 4, recognize the lotus that grows in the mud. The lotus is one of my favorite flowers, and as you know, it grows in the mud. All of us have difficulties, which we can call the mud in our life. And if we look more closely, we can realize that there are lotus flowers that can grow in this mud. For example, when I had my burnout, I was very disappointed and frustrated. But I realized that if I did not have this burnout, I would have continued working very hard, stretching myself, until maybe I could have gotten sick or died from more serious illnesses like cancer or heart attack. Also, 3 of my kids had a crisis in mental health, a leftover of the violence we experienced when their father was still with us. But now, all of us as a family are advocates of mental health care. This pandemic, it has been very challenging. We had to stop many things. There are many limits. But if we look at it, there are also many blessings. I was able to build a huge vegetable garden. And I believe the world is also becoming a better place because humans have stopped many unhealthy habits. Number 5, live a purposeful life. To remember that each of us is but one small, tiny part of the universe. So it's not all about me, but it's also about me. Because I, this small, tiny part, is also a vital part, and I can make a difference. So stop being the victim and share your light. In 2013, after Typhoon Yolanda, I realized it was time for me to leave the Philippines. So I took the big leap to come here to Europe. I was making steps to work with refugees and women, especially Filipinas, to start giving Reiki healing and massage and meditation workshop. But everything had to stop because of the pandemic. I realized now as a peacemaker, I have to learn to develop more compassion. As an activist, I was more black and white. But now I'm learning to love all beings, especially myself. To give compassion to all people, including those with opposing beliefs. Believe me, this is making my life lighter, more joyful, and more peaceful. Number 6, the last, I am enough. During this pandemic, seeing so much suffering, I was drawn to initiate and join many activities, Zoom meetings, meditation, workshops, interfaith prayers. I realized that I was starting to burn out again. So I had to stop again. So I had to go back to this important lesson that I am precious and I am enough. That being me is enough. And if I stay joyful and healthy, I can spread love and joy and peace. And that's already a big contribution. So I go back to grace and love. How do you age gracefully? In summary, hold on to faith in yourself and in God. And this is true not only for the elders, but for everyone, including the young. Let grace and love work in your life. In other words, to age gracefully, live a grace-filled life. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day, and please don't forget to smile.
Thank you, Ms. Angge Pacifico, for sharing with us and for encouraging us to keep the faith in our hearts. As she said, to age gracefully, we need to live a grace-filled life. And that's it for today. Thank you for being with us. Once again, this is Mirma Tico Ortiz from Miriam College. Thank you for joining us here at our sacred space, our peaceful classroom.